The conference room on Galactic Council Station Xena 7 was massive. Captain Jiwan Park had never seen anything like it. The ceiling stretched up so high she could barely see the top. Hundreds of aliens from different worlds sat in rows that curved around a central platform. Some had scales, some had too many eyes, and some looked like they were made of living crystal. Jiwan sat straight in her seat. Her uniform was pressed perfectly. Next to her sat Admiral Taejun Choi, the head of Earth's new space military. Behind them were 3 other human officers. They were the only humans in a room of thousands. This was Earth's first real military meeting with the Galactic Coalition. Humanity had finally built ships that could travel faster than light. After 200 years of being alone in space, humans had found out the galaxy was very crowded. Now Earth wanted to join the Coalition, a group of alien worlds that kept peace in this part of space. A tall reptilian alien stepped onto the central platform. His name was Draxus, and he was a commander from the Vrex species. His scales were dark green and covered in scars. His eyes were yellow and cold. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the room. "Today we discuss military assignments for new member species," Draxus said. His mouth full of sharp teeth twisted into what might have been a smile. "The humans have finally crawled out of their little system. They want to fight alongside us." Some aliens in the crowd made sounds that might have been laughter. Jiwan kept her face blank, but her hands tightened on the datapad in her lap. Draxus continued, "But we have a problem. The humans do something very strange. They let their females fight in wars." He pointed directly at Jiwan. "This one commands a warship. Can you believe it?" Now more aliens were making noise. The insect-like Clith clicked their mandibles together. The crystalline Soren hummed in a way that sounded like mockery. Jiwan felt dozens of alien eyes on her. She did not move. She barely breathed. In civilized species, females are kept safe, a Clith officer called out from the crowd. They grow the next generation. Only humans are desperate enough to throw their breeding population into combat. "Maybe they have too many females," another alien said. More laughter filled the room. Admiral Taejun started to stand up, but Jiwan put a hand on his arm. She shook her head slightly. He sat back down, but she could see the anger in his eyes. Draxus walked closer to where the human sat. "Tell me, human female, do you really think you belong on a battlefield? Have you ever seen real combat, or do your males just let you play soldier?" Jiwan finally looked up at him. Her voice was calm and clear. "I have 17 confirmed kills in ground combat. I have commanded my ship through 12 hostile encounters. My crew has never lost a member under my command." "Impressive numbers," Draxus said, his tone making it clear he thought the opposite. "For a prey species. But this is the real galaxy now. Not your little wars on your little planet. Out here, the strong survive and the weak become food." He turned back to the crowd. "I propose we give the humans appropriate assignments. They can escort cargo ships. They can patrol empty space where nothing happens. When they prove they can handle simple tasks, maybe then we let them near real combat. And maybe, if they learn proper military structure, they will stop sending females to do male work." The room filled with sounds of agreement. Jiwan watched as votes appeared on the main screen. The decision was made quickly. Earth forces would get the lowest level assignments. They would be on probation for at least one standard galactic year. Admiral Taejun spoke up. "We accept these terms for now, but Earth keeps its own military structure. Our female soldiers stay exactly where they are." Of course," Draxus said, waving a clawed hand. "Keep your strange customs. Just keep them away from anything important." He looked directly at Jiwan again. "Next time, send real warriors to these meetings, not decorations." The meeting ended. The human stood and walked out in silence. Ji-won could feel alien eyes following her the whole way. She heard whispers and more of that clicking laughter. Her face stayed blank, but inside she was burning. Later that night, Ji-won sat alone in her quarters on the human ship docked at the station. The room was small but clean. She had not brought many personal items with her, but one thing sat on her desk in a simple frame. It was an old photograph, the kind printed on actual paper. The picture showed a woman in military uniform. She was standing next to an old helicopter. Her face was weathered and serious. This was Ji-won's grandmother, who had flown combat missions in a war long ago. Ji-won picked up the frame and looked at the photo for a long moment. Her grandmother had faced men who said women could not be soldiers. She had proved them wrong by being better than most of them. She had earned her place with blood and skill. "They think we're weak," Ji-won whispered to the photo. "They think we're soft. They have no idea what humans are capable of." She set the frame back down gently. "They'll learn. I promise you that. They'll learn." Tomorrow she would take command of her ship and start running those boring cargo escort missions. She would follow her orders. But she would also watch and learn everything she could about how the coalition fought, about how these aliens thought, about their weaknesses, because Ji-won knew something these aliens did not. Humans had not reached the top of their food chain by being the biggest or strongest. Humans had survived by being smart, adaptable, and absolutely ruthless when necessary. And human women had fought for every inch of respect they had earned. The galaxy was about to learn a very old Earth lesson. Never underestimate prey, because sometimes prey has teeth. 3 months had passed since that first meeting. Captain Ji-won Park stood on the bridge of her ship, the Soul's Pride. It was a small frigate, nothing fancy, but it was hers. The bridge crew was small too. Only 5 people ran the whole ship during normal operations. Minho sat at the pilot station. He was young, maybe 25, with quick hands and quicker reflexes. At engineering, Hiren monitored every system on the ship. She knew the Soul's Pride better than anyone. She could make the ship do things the designers never intended. Daeun handled weapons and tactical. He was quiet, but always thinking 3 steps ahead. For 3 months, they had been running the same boring missions. Escort cargo ships from point A to point B. Patrol empty space where nothing ever happened. Watch other coalition ships do the real work while humans waited on the sidelines. Another exciting day in deep space, Minho said, trying to keep his voice cheerful. Patrol route Epsilon 9, again, for the 15th time. At least the view is nice, Hiren said. Though space looked the same as it always did. Black and empty and full of distant stars. Ji-won was about to respond when Daeun suddenly sat up straight. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal. It's a distress call." Everyone on the bridge became alert. Ji-won moved to stand behind Daeun's station. "Where?" "About 20 minutes away at full speed. It's a civilian transport. They're under attack." Daeun's fingers flew across his console, reading multiple small craft. "Weapons fire detected." "Captain, those signatures match known pirate groups." Pirates were common in this part of space. The coalition was too big to patrol everywhere. Some people made their living by attacking weak ships and stealing cargo. Or worse, stealing people to sell as slaves on worlds where that was still legal. "Send the distress call to Coalition Command," Ji-won ordered. "Ask for instructions." They waited. Seconds felt like hours. Finally, a response came back on the screen. The message was short and cold. "Human vessel Soul's Pride. Hold position. Coalition Rapid Response will handle the situation. Estimated arrival time, 90 minutes. Do not engage." Repeat. "Do not engage. 90 minutes. Ji-won looked at the data on her screen. The transport would be destroyed or captured in less than 20 minutes. Everyone on that ship would be dead or enslaved. Captain? Minho asked quietly. He already knew what she was thinking. Ji-won thought about the orders. She thought about what would happen if she disobeyed. Humans were already at the bottom. Breaking orders would make things worse. They might even kick Earth out of the coalition. Then she thought about the people on that transport. Maybe they had families waiting for them. Maybe there were children on board. In 90 minutes, those people would be gone. Minho, plot a course to the transport, Ji-won said. Her voice was steady, full speed. Captain, the orders, Do-yin started. I heard the orders, Ji-won cut him off. And I'm giving you new ones. We have weapons. We have a fast ship. We have a crew that's been bored for 3 months and is ready for action. Hiren, I need everything you can give me. Push the engines past their limits if you have to. Hiren grinned. Now you're speaking my language, Captain. The Soul's Pride turned and accelerated. The ship shook slightly as Hiren pushed more power to the engines than they were designed to handle. On any coalition ship, engineers followed safety rules exactly. But Hiren had learned to fix old human ships that barely worked. She knew how to make things run on hope and spare parts. They arrived at the transport in 18 minutes. The scene was chaos. The civilian ship was large and slow, built for carrying cargo and passengers, not for fighting. 6 small pirate ships circled it like sharks. They were firing weapons, trying to disable the transport's engines. Diane, target the pirate ships. Minho, bring us in fast and close, Ji-won commanded. Let's get their attention. The Soul's Pride shot into the middle of the fight. The pirate ships were surprised. They had not expected anyone to respond so quickly. Diane fired the ship's weapons. One pirate ship exploded immediately. Another took damage and started to spin away. They're breaking formation, Do-yin reported. They don't know what to do. Good. Let's keep them confused. Minho, evasive pattern Delta 7. This was where human pilots were different. Coalition pilots flew in straight lines mostly. They relied on shields and armor. Human pilots had learned to fly in atmosphere where one mistake meant death. They dodged and weaved and never stayed still. Minho threw the Soul's Pride into a spinning dive that would have made any coalition pilot sick. The pirates tried to track them but could not keep up. Diane fired whenever they had a clear shot. 2 more pirate ships took heavy damage. Captain, the transport is hailing us, communications officer called out. On screen, the face that appeared was reptilian. A Rex male, old and scared. Behind him, Ji-won could see other passengers. Some were Vrex, some were Clith, all were terrified. Human ship, the Vrex said, his voice shaking. Thank you. Thank you. They were going to kill us all. Get your engines. Running and head to the nearest safe station, Ji-won told him. We'll cover your escape. The last 2 pirate ships decided they had had enough. They turned and ran, jumping away the faster-than-light speed. The Soul's Pride held position until the transport was safely away. Only then did Ji-won let herself breathe. They had done it. No casualties. Everyone saved. Captain, Do-yin said quietly, Coalition Command is hailing us. They sound angry. Ji-won was not surprised. She had disobeyed direct orders. There would be consequences. Put them through. The face that appeared on screen was a Soren officer. His crystalline features somehow managed to look furious. Human vessel, you were ordered to hold position. You engaged hostile forces without authorization. This is a serious violation of protocol. Yes, sir, Ji-won said simply. We saved 73 civilian lives. The transport is safe. No coalition forces were harmed in the engagement. That is not the point, the Soren snapped. You broke formation. You ignored commands. You endangered your crew with reckless behavior. There will be an official reprimand in your file. Do not let this happen again. Understood, sir, Jiwan said. The screen went dark. Her crew looked at her. She could see the worry on their faces. A reprimand was bad. It could end her career. Worth it, she said simply. Every time. We don't leave people to die when we can help them. Her crew smiled. They had done the right thing, and they all knew it. Later, Jiwan would learn that word spread fast on civilian channels. The Vrex and Cliff passengers told everyone they met about the human ship that saved them. About the female captain who broke rules to do the right thing. About humans who fought like demons when they needed to dot in bars and stations across Coalition space. People started to talk about the crazy humans. The ones who did not follow the normal rules. The ones who might actually be more dangerous than they looked. And somewhere on a Coalition command ship, Draxus heard the story. He dismissed it with a wave of his hand. Luck, he told his officers. Nothing more than prey getting lucky. But deep down, something bothered him. Something he could not quite name. A feeling that maybe, just maybe, he had underestimated these humans. The War Council meeting room was tense. Captain Jiwan Park stood at the back with other junior officers. At the front, senior commanders from different species argued over holographic maps. The map showed star systems near the border of Coalition space. A new enemy had appeared. The Creveth swarm. They were insectoid creatures that moved in massive numbers. They had already destroyed 3 colonies. Thousands were dead. Millions more had fled their homes. Now a Coalition fleet was gathering to strike back. It was the largest military force assembled in 50 years. Hundreds of ships from dozens of different worlds. The humans had been allowed to send 10 ships. Small ones. They would stay in the back, away from real fighting. Commander Draxus stood at the center of the room. He had been promoted to fleet coordinator. His job was to plan the attack. On the holographic display, he pointed to a star system called the Narrow Passage. We will enter here, Draxus explained. The Narrow Passage is the shortest route to Creveth space. We go in fast and hard. We hit their supply lines before they can respond. Speed is everything. Other commanders nodded. It seemed like a good plan. Simple and direct. The kind of plan that had worked for the Coalition for centuries. G1 stared at the map. Something felt wrong. She had spent the last 6 months studying every battle report she could find. She had learned how the Creveth fought. They were not stupid. They were actually very smart. She looked at the map again. The Narrow Passage was obvious. Too obvious. It was exactly where anyone would expect an attack. And the Creveth had shown they were good at ambush. Very good. Jiwan raised her hand. Several alien officers turned to look at her with surprise. Junior officers did not usually speak at war councils. Human junior officers especially. Yes? Draxus said. His tone made it clear he was annoyed. Sir, I believe the Creveth will ambush the fleet at Narrow Passage, Jiwan said clearly. Every battle report shows they predict enemy movements well. The passage is the obvious choice. They will be waiting for us. Draxus's eyes narrowed. And where, human, do you think we should go instead? Jiwan stepped forward and pointed to another part of the map. The Kepler Belt. It's longer to travel, yes. But it has asteroid fields we can use for cover. The Creveth won't expect us there because it seems like a harder route. We can approach their supply lines from a different angle. The Kepler Belt adds 3 days to our travel time, a Cliff commander said. 3 days they can use to prepare defenses. Better than flying into an ambush, G1 replied. Draxus made a sound that was probably laughter. Prey species do not understand predator tactics. The Creveth are insects. Insects do not think like we do. They react. They swarm. They do not lay complex traps. We go through narrow passage as planned. He looked directly at G1. Human vessels will remain in rear support positions. You will guard the supply ships. Try not to get lost. The council ended. The plan was set. The fleet would move out in 2 days. Admiral Taejun found Ji-won in the hallway after the meeting. "You tried," he said quietly. "That's all you could do." "It's going to be a trap," Ji-won said. "I know it is. I can feel it." "Probably," Taejun agreed. "But we follow orders. We stay in position. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe Draxus is right." But Ji-won could not shake the feeling. That night, she gathered her bridge crew. Minho, Hiren, Dayan, and 3 others. "I think there's going to be an ambush," she told them. "I can't prove it. Command won't listen. But I want us ready anyway." "Ready how?" Hiren asked. "We stay in our assigned position at the back of the fleet. But we run battle simulations for the next 2 days. We practice responding to an ambush at narrow passage. We prepare for what I think will happen, not what command thinks will happen." "And if you're wrong?" Minho asked. "Then we wasted 2 days on drills. But if I'm right, we might save lives." Her crew did not hesitate. They trusted her. For 2 days, they ran every simulation they could think of. Ambush from above, ambush from below, ambush from multiple directions. They practiced until they could respond without thinking. The day came. The massive fleet moved out together. Over 300 ships traveling in formation. It was beautiful and terrifying. Jimin had never seen so much military power in one place. The Souls, Pride stayed in the back with other human ships and the slow supply vessels. Most of the bridge crew looked bored. This was just escort duty again. Nothing would happen back here, but Ji-won watched her sensors carefully. They approached the narrow passage. The main fleet began to enter the narrow space between 2 asteroid fields. "Captain," Doyen said suddenly. His voice was tight. "I'm reading energy signatures. Multiple contacts. They're hiding in the asteroids." Ji-won's blood went cold. "How many?" "I can't tell. At least 50. Maybe more." "Captain, they're powering weapons." Alarms started blaring across the fleet. The Kreveth appeared all at once, dropping stealth fields. They had been hiding in the asteroids, exactly as Ji-won had predicted. Hundreds of Kreveth ships. Maybe thousands. They swarmed the main coalition fleet. The attack was brutal and sudden. Ships exploded in the first 30 seconds. The careful formation fell apart as everyone tried to scatter. But the Kreveth had planned this perfectly. They attacked from 3 sides at once. The coalition ships tried to fight back, but they were trapped in the narrow passage. There was no room to maneuver. "Dayan, where's the main concentration of Kreveth forces?" Ji-won demanded. "Coordinates marking now. They're hitting the command ships hardest." Ji-won opened a channel to the other human vessels near her. 4 ships responded. "All human ships. This is Soul's Pride. Break formation. Follow my lead. We're going in." "Captain, Command hasn't ordered us forward," one of the other captains said. "Command is too busy dying," Ji-won shot back. "We either help them now or we watch them get slaughtered. Your choice." There was a pause. Then all 4 ships confirmed. They would follow her. "Minho, take us in. Full speed." "Hiren, I need every bit of power you can give us." "You got it, Captain," Hiren said. Her fingers danced across her console. The ship shuddered as she pushed the engines far past their safety limits. The 5 human ships shot forward. They were small and fast. The Kreveth had not expected anyone to attack from behind. "Dayan, target their communication ships," Ji-won ordered. "Every species has a command structure. Find theirs and cut it." Doyan worked fast. marking targets now. The human ships hit the crevasse from an angle they had not protected. It was not about destroying the most ships. It was about creating chaos. Breaking their coordination, the soul's pride wove between crevasse vessels. Minho flew like the ship was part of his body. They dodged weapons fire that would have destroyed them. Doyan fired whenever they had a shot, targeting the larger crevasse vessels that seemed to be directing the others. Hiren did something incredible. She hacked one of the crevasse drones and uploaded a virus. The virus spread through the crevasse communication network. Suddenly, enemy ships started receiving false orders. Some broke off their attacks. Others fired at wrong targets. The human ships held their position for 47 minutes. 47 minutes of constant combat. 47 minutes that gave the main coalition fleet time to reorganize and fight back. Finally, the crevasse began to retreat. They had not expected this much resistance. They had not planned for the chaos the humans created. When it was over, the coalition had lost ships. Many ships, but not as many as they would have lost without the human intervention. The computers calculated it later. 30% fewer casualties because 5 small human vessels had refused to stay in the back. G1 sat in her captain's chair, exhausted. Her hands were shaking. Around her, her crew was silent. They had just survived something that should have killed them. A message came through. It was from Draxus. His face appeared on the screen. He looked tired and angry and something else. Maybe embarrassed. Human vessel soul's pride, he said slowly. Your actions today saved many lives. Coalition Command extends its gratitude. There was a long pause. Draxus looked like he was chewing on glass. Thank you, he finally said. Then the screen went dark. Man HO started laughing. He could not help it. Did that just happen? Did Draxus just thank us? Mark this day, Hiren said. We made the impossible possible. But G1 was not celebrating. She was thinking about all the ships they had lost. All the people who died because Command had not listened to her warning. We did good today, she said quietly. But we can do better. We need to do better. Because next time, they might not be so lucky that we're nearby. Her crew nodded. They understood. This was not the end. This was just the beginning. 6 months had changed everything. The war against the crevasse had grown worse. They were not just raiders anymore. They wanted to conquer. Every week brought news of another attack, another colony lost. But something else had changed too. Humans were no longer stuck in the back. After the battle at Narrow Passage, Coalition Command had started listening to Earth's tactical suggestions. Human ships got better assignments. They were allowed on the front lines. Still, female soldiers faced problems. G1 heard the comments, saw the looks. Many aliens still believed females should not fight. But now, the humans had started to prove themselves. Slowly, one battle at a time. Captain G1 Park stood in a briefing room on a coalition command station. She was no longer alone. Around her stood 7 other women. All human. All soldiers. All the best at what they did. There was Soman, a sniper who could hit targets from distances that seemed impossible. She was small and quiet, with steady hands and eyes that never missed. Yunji specialized in infiltration. She could slip into enemy positions like a ghost. Jihi was a combat medic who had saved dozens of lives under fire. The others were experts in explosives, communications, hacking, and close combat. They were Special Operations Group 13. Other soldiers had started calling them the Witches. The name was not meant kindly at first. It was supposed to be an insult. Women doing men's work, playing at being soldiers, but the women had decided to own the name. If aliens wanted to call them witches, then they would be witches. The best and most dangerous kind. We need a call sign, Yoonji had said during their first mission. Something that makes people nervous when they hear it. Ji-won had thought of an old Earth legend. A story from Russia about a witch who lived in the forest. She was old and terrifying. She ate children in some stories. In others, she helped heroes who were brave enough to ask. Her name was Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga, Ji-won had said. The witch who lives in shadows. Who appears when you least expect her. Who cannot be stopped. The name stuck. They became Baba Yaga, one name for all of them. A legend made real. Their missions were the kind other teams would not take. Rescue operations deep in enemy space. Assassinations of high-value targets. Sabotage missions behind crevasse lines. Every mission was supposed to be impossible. They did them anyway. On a moon called Vector 3, they extracted 15 prisoners from a crevasse prison. They went in with only their small ship and hand weapons. They came out with all 15 prisoners and 0 casualties. The crevasse did not even know what happened until the next day. On the asteroid base called Iron Fang, they destroyed a crevasse weapons factory. Yoonji snuck in through a ventilation system that should have been too small for any human. She planted explosives that Bora had designed. The factory exploded just as crevasse reinforcements arrived. Baba Yaga was gone before anyone could chase them. They eliminated a crevasse queen on her own hive ship. Queens were supposed to be impossible to reach, protected by thousands of warriors. But Soman took the shot from a neighboring ship. One bullet through a small window during a 3-second opportunity. The queen died instantly. After each mission, the legend grew. The crevasse started to fear them. Intercepted communications showed crevasse warriors talking about the Death Witch. About humans who hunted from shadows. About the ones who could not be killed. Coalition soldiers reacted differently. The ones who had mocked human women before started to get quiet. Nobody made jokes anymore when Baba Yaga walked into a room. Some soldiers even started requesting to train with them. Alien soldiers who had to work in sectors where Baba Yaga operated would put in transfer requests. Not because they did not trust the humans. Because they were afraid of what it meant. If Baba Yaga was there, it meant the situation was bad. It meant death was close, but respect and fear came with a cost. Ji-won saw it in her team's eyes. Every mission took something from them. Soman stopped smiling as much. Yoonji had nightmares. Ji-hee worked too hard, like she was trying to save everyone to make up for the ones she could not save. Ji-won tried to take care of her team. She checked on them, made sure they rested between missions, reminded them they were human, not actually witches. But she knew she was asking too much of them. She was asking them to be legends when they were just people. Then came the news that changed everything. Commander Draxus had led a major offensive against a crevasse stronghold. He commanded 300 ships and 50,000 soldiers. He was supposed to break through crevasse defenses and destroy one of their main hive worlds. The offensive failed badly. The crevasse had been ready. They destroyed half of Draxus's fleet in the first hour. Draxus himself was captured along with hundreds of other Coalition soldiers. Coalition High Command met to discuss the situation. Ji-won was there because Baba Yaga had become important enough to be included in major decisions. Draxus is alive, the Soren Admiral said. We have confirmed this through intelligence sources. But he is being held deep in crevasse territory, on their home world. A rescue mission would be suicide, a Clith general said. We would lose more soldiers trying to save him than he is worth. He knew the risks when he took command, another officer agreed. We cannot spare forces for a rescue attempt. Ji-won listened to them talk. She thought about Draxus. He had mocked her, insulted her, dismissed her warnings. He had been arrogant and rude and wrong about so many things, but he was also a soldier. He had fought for the Coalition for 30 years. He had saved lives. He had led men and women into battle and brought most of them home. He had even learned to respect humans, even if it had taken him a long time. More importantly, Jivan thought about what it meant to leave soldiers behind. If the Coalition would abandon Draxus, they would abandon anyone. They would abandon humans too. When it was convenient, she stood up. Every eye in the room turned to her. "Baba Yaga will go," she said simply. "Captain Park, did you not hear us?" The Soren Admiral asked. "This mission is impossible. The Kravath home world is the most heavily defended location in their empire. We do not even have good maps of it. Every mission we take is supposed to be impossible," G1 replied. "That's why we exist. And we don't leave soldiers behind. Ever. That's not just a rule. It's who we are. If we abandon Draxus, we're saying that some soldiers matter and some don't. I won't accept that." "This is not just about rescuing one commander," a Vrex officer said quietly. "This is about showing the Kravath they cannot break us, that we take care of our own. It's about showing our own soldiers the same thing." Another added. The Admiral thought for a long moment. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. Baba Yaga has authorization for rescue operations. We will provide what intelligence we have. But understand, Captain Park, if you fail, we cannot send anyone after you." "Understood, sir," Jiwan said. "We won't fail." Later, she gathered her team and told them about the mission. She expected arguments. This was beyond dangerous. This was almost certain death. Instead, Selman just checked her rifle. "When do we leave?" "You're all willing to do this?" Jiwan asked. "To risk everything for Draxus? After how he treated us?" Yoonji shrugged. "He learned. He changed. That matters. Besides, you're right. We don't leave people behind. That's what makes us different from them." "That's what makes us different from them." Jihi smiled. "Also, imagine the look on his face when he realizes it's us saving him. That alone is worth the trip." They spent 3 days planning. They studied every bit of intelligence the Coalition had on the Kravath home world. It was not much. The planet was deep in enemy space. It had never been successfully scouted. They would be going in blind, against millions of Kravath warriors, to rescue one arrogant reptilian who had once called them decorative. "This is insane," Selman said. "Completely insane," Yoonji agreed. Jiwan looked at her team. These women who had become her family. Last chance to back out. Nobody moved. "Good," Jiwan said. "Let's go be witches." Their ship launched toward Kravath space. Behind them, Coalition officers watched and wondered if they would ever see Baba Yaga again. The legend was about to be tested. Not against small bases or individual targets. Against an entire world that wanted them dead. The captured Kravath ship stank. Everything organic did when it came from the Kravath. Their technology was half machine, half living creature. The walls pulsed like they were breathing. The controls were wet to the touch. G1 tried not to think about it as she piloted the ship toward the Kravath home world. Next to her, Yoonji monitored the communication channels. Behind them, the rest of Baba Yaga prepared weapons and equipment. They had captured this ship 2 days ago in a brief, brutal fight near the border. They killed the crew and cleaned out the inside as much as possible. Now they were using it to sneak into the most dangerous place in the galaxy. "We're approaching the outer defense perimeter," Unji said. 3 Kravath patrol ships closing to inspect us. "Transmit the code we pulled from their computers," Jiwan ordered. Unji sent the signal. It was a sequence that identified them as a Kravath vessel returning from a raid. They had stolen it from the ship's memory banks. It should work. Should. Seconds passed. The patrol ships came closer. Ji-won's hand moved near the weapons control. If this went wrong, they would have to fight their way through, and that would alert the whole planet. Then one of the patrol ships signaled back. Clearance granted. They were waved through. I can't believe that worked, Silman whispered. Don't celebrate yet, Ji-won said. We're not even on the planet. The Kreveth homeworld filled their view screen. It was massive, covered in hive structures that looked like tumors growing across the surface. Billions of Kreveth lived there. The capital of their empire, and somewhere down there, Draxus and other prisoners were being held. They landed at a docking bay on the edge of one of the main hive cities. The place was huge. Kreveth ships came and went constantly. Warriors swarmed everywhere. The noise was incredible. Millions of insects clicking and buzzing all at once. Stay close, Ji-won said. We move fast and quiet. Yoonji, lead the way. And Ji had studied the intelligence reports more than anyone. She had memorized the layout of Kreveth hive structures. She led them through corridors that twisted like intestines. The organic walls were warm and damp. They avoided patrols when they could. When they could not, they killed quickly and hid the bodies. Jihee's hands were steady as she injected Kreveth. Warriors with toxins that stopped their hearts in seconds thought it took 2 hours to reach the prison section. The intelligence had been right. Prisoners were kept deep in the hive, in cocoons made of organic material. The cocoons kept them alive but paralyzed. There, Yoonji pointed. Motion sensors show life signs. Dozens of them. They entered the prison chamber. It was a nightmare. The room was vast, and covering the walls were hundreds of cocoons. Each one held a living being wrapped in organic webbing. Some struggled weakly. Others were completely still. Start looking for Draxus, Ji-won ordered. Quickly. Her team spread out. They cut into cocoons and checked faces. Most were aliens Ji-won did not recognize. Some were coalition soldiers from battles months ago. All were barely alive. Found him. Someone called out .drax. Yus hung in a cocoon near the center of the room. His scales were dull and his eyes were closed. For a moment, Ji-won thought he was dead. Then she saw his chest move slightly. Cut him down. Get the others too. Everyone we can carry. They worked fast. Jae-hee injected the prisoners with stimulants to wake them up. Slowly, soldiers started to regain consciousness. There were Rex, Cliff, Soren, and even 2 humans. Coalition fighters who had been missing for weeks. Draxus's eyes opened. He looked at Ji-won with confusion. Then recognition. Then shock. You, he whispered. His voice was rough from lack of use. The human female. You came. We don't leave soldiers behind, Ji-won said simply. Can you walk? I think so. Good, because we need to move now. Alarms started blaring. The Kreveth had discovered the break-in. Yoonji swore. They know we're here. How many prisoners can we carry? Ji-won asked Ji-hee. Most of them can walk with help. But we're talking about more than 100 people. Too many to sneak out. They would have to fight. All right, Ji-won said. New plan. Bora, I need you to blow a hole in the outer wall. We're going out the direct way. Yoonji, can you tap into their communication system? Already on it, Yoonji said. Her fingers flew over a small computer pad. I'm in their network. Good. Upload chaos. Make them think we're attacking from multiple places. Split their forces. Yoonji smiled. She had prepared something special. A virus that would send false alarms across the entire hive. Suddenly, the Kreveth would think they were being invaded from 10 different directions. Bora placed explosives along the outer wall. Everyone get back. The explosion ripped a huge hole in the hive wall. Alarms got louder. The Kreveth were coming now. Thousands of them. Move! J1 shouted. The prisoners stumbled toward the hole. Some of Baba Yaga helped them while others covered the retreat. Selman took position and started firing. Her rifle barked steadily. Each shot killed a Kreveth warrior. She did not miss. The Kreveth came like a living wave. They poured through doorways and down from the ceiling. There were so many of them. Too many. But Baba Yaga had trained for this. They fought in the tight corridors using close quarters techniques. Yunji threw grenades that filled hallways with fire. Mina used a flamethrower that turned charging Kreveth into burning torches. Jihi fired her pistol while simultaneously helping wounded prisoners walk. They made it outside the hive. The captured Kreveth ship was too far away. They would never make it. We need another way out, Jawan said. Draxus, now stronger from Jihi's stimulants, pointed. There, a Kreveth transport ship. Small but fast. Can you fly it? Yes, I studied their systems when I was a prisoner. They ran for the transport. Behind them, the entire hive seemed to wake up. Kreveth warriors poured out like angry bees from a kicked nest. Weapons fire lit up the night. Soman stayed behind with two others to cover the escape. Go! She shouted. I'll catch up. But then Kreveth royal guards appeared. These were different from normal warriors. Bigger, stronger. Their armor was thick and their weapons were deadly. And behind them came the Empress herself. She was massive, 3 times the size of a normal Kreveth. Her body was covered in blade-like armor. Her eyes glowed with rage. The Empress made a sound that was part scream, part roar. She charged directly at Jiwan. There was no time to run. No time to think. Jiwan pulled her combat knife and met the charge. The Empress was fast for something so large. Her claws slashed down. Jiwan dodged and rolled. She came up slashing with her knife. The blade found a gap in the armor and drew green blood. The Empress screamed. She was not used to prey fighting back. This was what aliens did not understand about humans. Humans had not become apex predators by being the strongest. They became apex predators by being stubborn and vicious, and refusing to quit even when they should. Jiwan fought like her ancestors had fought. No honor, no rules. Just survival. She went for the eyes, the joints, the weak spots. She used every dirty trick she had learned. Behind her, Soman fired. The shot was impossible. Through a gap in the Empress's armor at the base of her neck. The bullet severed something vital. The Empress stumbled. Jiwan saw her chance. She jumped onto the creature's back and drove her knife into the wound Soman had created. Then she twisted. The Empress fell. The most powerful Kreveth on the planet died in the dirt with a human woman standing over her body. That's what prey looks like, Jiwan whispered. The royal guards froze. Without their Empress, they did not know what to do. The entire hive went silent for one perfect moment. Everyone on the ship. Draxus shouted. Now. They ran. All of them. Baba Yaga and the rescued prisoners together. They piled into the Kreveth transport ship. Draxus took the controls. The engines roared to life. Kreveth warriors tried to stop them, but they were confused and leaderless. Their Empress was dead. Their chain of command was broken. The ship lifted off and shot into the sky. Behind them, the hive descended into chaos. Without the Empress, the Kreveth would fight among themselves for control. It would take them weeks to reorganize. The transport ship broke through the atmosphere and jumped to faster-than-light speed. They were away. They had done the impossible. In the back of the ship, rescued prisoners sat in shocked silence. Draxus came back from the cockpit. He looked at Jiwan for a long moment. You saved my life, he said quietly. You risked everything for me, after how I treated you. You're a soldier, Jiwan said. We take care of our own. I was wrong about humans, Draxus said. His voice was thick with emotion. I was wrong about human women. I apologize. For all of it? Jiwan nodded. Apology accepted. Just remember this. The next time someone tells you females can't fight. 2 weeks later, they returned to Coalition space. The entire fleet came out to meet them. Baba Yaga had returned with 127 rescued prisoners, and they had killed a Krevith Empress in her own hive. The medal ceremony was held in the Grand Hall on the main Coalition station. Thousands attended. Jiwan and her team stood at the front in their dress uniforms. Admiral Tajan presented them with the Coalition's highest military honor. But more important was what happened next. Draxus stepped forward to speak. I have served in the Coalition military for 32 years, he said. His voice echoed through the hall. I have seen many things. I have made many mistakes. My greatest mistake was underestimating Earth's soldiers, especially its female soldiers. He turned to face Jiwan directly.